What is up, everyone? It is Tampa Bay Tay, and my sidekick that you will probably most definitely see and already know is Josie Siri. So I want to go ahead and start and address where Tampa Bay Tay came from because it's not something that actually even originated in my own brain. It started off because of my birthday, and let me explain. So each year I drag all of my friends out to a Rays baseball game because of course I do. And it became the outing of Tampa Bay Tays. Thankfully, the name Taylor morphs really well into Tay, and so now we have the Tampa Bay Tays. Well, if we're celebrating the Tampa Bay Tays, we must be celebrating Tampa Bay Tay. And so that name kind of stuck around and it was kind of a joke. But I realized, hey, some people are calling me this. I'm kind of grateful that my name kind of plays well with this. So I changed my name to that on Twitter this year, which I knew doing it was a choice. But I've actually kind of enjoyed what has come of it. And I will kind of get to how this is all full circle as I go along. So, a funny story before I continue. This year in June, I visited Citi Field, which, by the way, is one of my favorite parks that I've been to. But anyway, the Rays were in town. I got to watch them sweep the NL Best Mets at the time, and it was great. The first game was very frigid for us on Saturday. I went Saturday and Sunday. And so my friend and I are walking around the stadium trying to stay warm instead of staying up in literally the wind and the elements. And so we're out in right field. I say, hey, can we stop so I can watch some of this game? The Rays were up to bat. Jonathan Aranda, I love him. And while I'm standing there, I look to my right and I see a guy in a Rays shirt, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's always nice going to away games because you see some other fans, and it's nice to see the support. I didn't think anything of it. The play ends, and he comes over and he goes, "You wouldn't happen to be Tampa Bay Tay, would you?" And my friend let out an expletive. It was the most, it was so funny because I could finally go, see, I'm not crazy. Although my friends pick at me, all good and well. It was very validating in that moment. And it was so nice to meet him. And it's been so nice to meet so many people who have approached me with the Tampa Bay Tay. And, even if you just know me from Twitter or you follow me or whatever, it's been really, really nice. And so this becomes full circle because, as you might assume, I've been a lifelong fan. I've been a fan since I was in elementary school, once I could really start picking up what was going on. I will say I do love that I share the same birth year with the Rays, if you will, both born in 1998, first seasons, however you want to look at it. And I have a ton of that merch because I love that fact. But the reason I became a fan was all a surprise, all by chance, if you will. In elementary school, my best friend moved to St. Pete. And telling an elementary school kid that their best friend is moving to St. Pete, you might as well have said the other end of the earth because I don't know what that means. I just know my best friend is not going to be attending school with me anymore. I live in Hillsborough County, not in St. Pete. And so, as devastating as that was, that presented a new opportunity to go do things with them in St. Pete, one of which being attending a Rays game. No one thought anything of it. We're going to go kill a couple hours, talk, chat, all the things. And I somehow became completely focused on baseball. I wanted to know all of the rules, all of the plays, all of the approaches, everything about the players. I mean, you name it, I had a question for it. But why? Why? And thankfully, my dad, who grew up playing baseball his entire life, he wasn't watching the Rays up until this point, but he was there to answer all of my logistical questions about why things were happening. And it suddenly turned into my obsession. I knew everything about baseball, about the Rays. I was reading the newspaper as an elementary school kid. Like, it's bigger than me, and I'm trying to figure out how to work it. And I wanted to know everything about what's going on inside the clubhouse, why certain moves are being made, all of it. And I'll never forget, shout out to my dad. He would come home after a long day of work, have more work to do in his office, finances, whatever it may be. I learned how to score, had my own scorebook, and I think my parents probably still have my binders full of scorebooks. And I would score the half inning, run to his office, give the most obnoxious rendition of what just happened using my notes, and then run back and do that all night long. So, shout out to my dad for the patience, and shout out to my mom as well. We have made it a family tradition to take vacations around where the Rays play. We're always at spring training, we're always at as many games as we can go to. And so, they have really always been very supportive of my love for the Rays. And I honestly probably wouldn't be here without someone entertaining all of my questions. So thank you to them. So as I got older, I started to use social media, and I was probably on it a little too young. Definitely. I think the year I made my account is probably illegal. Like, I shouldn't have been on social media, but all I was doing was using it as a void to just kind of spout out my thoughts about the team, my frustrations, my excitement. No one was really on there, especially talking about baseball, especially being a girl talking about baseball and a girl talking about the Rays. So it was just the void that I filled and never thought anything of it. Once I came back from college, I get back onto Twitter a little bit more full time, and I realized, hey, everyone's gotten older. Everyone's figured out this app. Everyone's tweeting about their favorite sports teams, and jumped right back into it. And I would say in the last probably 3 to 4 years, it's become sort of a passion of mine to be another voice or raise representation on social media in the big grand scheme of things. And so I've turned a lot of it into, which is very easy to go down the bickering lane. There's tons of bickering, tons of arguments. I'm right, you're wrong, those types of things. Definitely, I've grown out of that. And I've really just tried to use my platform to expose more people to the game and to the Rays, casual fans. Like I said, I was crazy about this team, right? I was researching and reading every little thing. I don't expect most people to do that. So if I can take some of what I've learned, what I think is cool, what I think other people might think is interesting, that's what I primarily have started to use my platform for. I've had so many people living so close to Steinbrenner this year. I had the opportunity to go to so many games, and it was so much fun. But so many people reached out to me, hey, what should I do for this? Where should I park? Where should I sit? All these things. And that was really um, I don't know, that was really nice to do. And I felt inspired by that. And I feel inspired by anyone that I can make laugh about the team, even if things are going sideways, or if I can just give my perspective on what's going on so we don't all crash out collectively. And that's kind of been my new passion, if you will. And that's kind of what's led me here today. Another exciting thing that has come from Tampa Bay Tay was at the beginning of this season, 2025, MLB reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to represent the Rays on their inaugural fan council. Crazy. I thought I was being spammed. I had to like check all the boxes and make sure that this was actually MLB's account, which it was. And so every month I've been on a Zoom with some of the people at MLB who are picking our brains, various different franchises, obviously all 30 of us. It's kind of grown about double that now. They just want to hear like what's important to us. Obviously, all the franchises have different things that are very important to them. And speaking for a Rays fan, being in this uncertainty early on about the stadium and ownership, and now having a new owner, I bring that kind of perspective and what's important to what I think us in this area. And so that's been another affirming situation where I'm like, okay, I'm contributing as much as I can, or that I feel like is good for the franchise and for the fan base. So at the end of the day, all I try to do is expose more people to the game, make them laugh, make them want to follow a little bit more closely if they can. And if they can't, I'm also here to break down whatever it may be that's going on. I know I've learned not just about baseball, I've learned tons about stadium deals, land rights, you name it. I have become a professional on whatever the Rays are going through because I want to understand it just as much as anybody else, or I want to stay on top of it. And then, like with the upcoming CBA agreement, possibly not having baseball in 2027, like I want to be a sounding board for other people who might not understand what's going on or why it's going on. And that's sort of been my thing. I do feel like right now it's a very pivotal time in the Rays franchise in their history, with a new owner, a new ownership group that has, a lot more money and a lot more potential to do something really good that anchors the future of this fan base to this area. I love Tampa more than anything. I'm so proud to be from here. I know it's a transplant city, but everyone comes here because it's so great. And so to be here and be a third generation Floridian, I scream it from the rooftops. So I love where I'm from. I love baseball. And you put those two together, you get the Tampa Bay Rays, and subsequently, you get Tampa Bay Tay. So that's a little bit about me. I'm not really sure what this channel is going to look like specifically because I can get on here and yap. As you guys know, I yap constantly on Twitter, but I don't want to yap your ear off. But if I can come and talk about something that you think is interesting or you didn't even know about, that might be what I do. I don't know what it looks like yet. I don't know any of the specifics, but I know that I have to keep sitting here and churning stuff out and we'll see what sticks. But anyway, that was just a little bit about me. Hopefully in the future I can get my dad on and we can just kind of talk about our experience of becoming a raised family and maybe some antics I had. People think I'm feisty now. They have no idea. 10-year-old Tampa Bay Tay, before she was crowned Tampa Bay Tay, she was a firecracker. And sometimes that is deep down inside, but I have to keep my focus on doing what's best for me and also everyone around me. And that is now doing this and hopefully helping someone out, like I said, being a voice, being a sounding board, or just, you need some noise on in the background, whatever you need from me. So I thank you for watching this, and we'll see what continues. If you have any ideas or suggestions, definitely reach out, let me know, and I hope to see you around and raise up.